My goal physique was always something like this: a muscular physique. It's lean, it's aesthetic. And for years I looked like this, right? And so looking at these two physiques, my uneducated, unexperienced idea was that I need to get leaner to reveal this physique this guy has. I want to be striated, I want to look aesthetic, I want to look attractive, but I don't want to be skinny. And so in my mind, I was like, yo, I already got some size, I'm already pretty big. And so for me to now look like this, I need to cut. I want to save you guys from making the same mistake that I made, right? I had a very common misunderstanding about what it takes to actually build this aesthetic and lean physique. And so in this video, I'm gonna break it down for you. Okay, so my issue wasn't that I didn't have a clear vision. A lot of people go to the gym and they just they train hard, they eat whatever they want to eat, but they're sold by the notion that showing up is enough. You put in the work, you hit the gym, you should be good. But I was past that level. I understood that I needed a direction. And so like I said, I was always cutting, right? I tried so much stuff, right? I first off started without knowing anything about calories. And like when I was in university, I heard that if you ate green apples and peanut butter, you can lose weight. No logic to it, but I did it. I lost some weight, funnily enough, I lost some weight. But obviously I didn't have the physique I needed because I didn't have enough time in the gym. I didn't have enough control over what I was eating. So with time, I started learning about counting calories. I would cut my calories, I would go on my fitness pal, I would enter what I ate. At this point, I was kind of still living at home in my early 20s. And so even though I wasn't cooking all my food, even what my mom would make, I would like track that, put it in my app, and I was losing weight. And so I'll kind of show you the cut I did in 2023. So this is me at the start, right? I was probably around 235 here. Like I wasn't skinny fat, but I was definitely under muscled and not as lean as I wanted. But like I said, I understood it as being you need to cut to reveal the physique. And so when I cut, I looked like this. A pretty good physique, but I noticed that I didn't really have the size and the muscularity I wanted, but I was lean, right? And to be honest, the way I cut, I was doing a bunch of cardio, right? I was cutting my calories. I was in a very large deficit. I was eating around 2,000 calories a day. And even though I got lean, for some reason, I wasn't even as lean as I wanted to be. And that was likely due to like my metabolism. My metabolism was cooked. And so I had been cutting so much, just so restrictive, trying to get smaller, shrink myself, that I had shrunk myself and still not got the look that I wanted. And so like, I'm looking in the mirror after like 4 or 5 months of like deficit, daily cardio, tracking my food. And I'm like, is this really worth it? Like, is this really what I signed up for? And then, so I figured that I needed to put on muscle. I did a bulk, a very shitty bulk, a dirty bulk. I ballooned up to like 258-ish. I'll show you my physique here. And then obviously I had to cut again. So after what, a 2-month bulk period where I gained almost 30 pounds of mostly fat, I'm cutting again, doing the same idea over and over again. And during that cut, again, I was super restrictive and I lost a little weight, fat, and muscle. And so it really hit me when I was traveling. I went to the Olympia in Vegas, and like obviously I saw the bodybuilders are off roids, right? But even my fellow like peers, but the influencers I was with, I was looking at their physiques. This is like 2024-ish at the start or the end. And I'm like, why do these guys all look leaner than me and have more muscle than me? And I was like, me continuously doing these 1 month, 2 month bulk phases where I balloon up and gain strength and then lose it all again, just to become a smaller version of myself with still less muscle. That wasn't working for me. And so I did my research. I talked to a bodybuilding coach. I worked with him. And what I understood was that I was severely under muscled. I was training the wrong way. I had the wrong idea about what it means to be lean, right? So I did not have the muscle. I did not know how to train properly. I didn't know how to do a prolonged bulk phase where I can put on the muscle while not getting too much fat so that my cut doesn't have to be so long, and during that cut I lose all my muscle. So I was under muscle, and it took me a couple years to understand that that is the actual diagnosis for most people's physiques. You see, everyone wants to be lean and aesthetic. Everyone wants to look like David Lee. No one doesn't want to be lean and muscular, right? But the thing is that it is actually so hard to get lean when you're under muscled. And it is very easy to stay lean when you have muscle, because muscle requires calories. The more muscle you have, the more food you need to eat just to maintain your weight. And so in reality, the pathway to that lean muscular physique is not getting lean. It is building more muscle while staying lean. So yes, you need to get lean to look lean, but that is not the pathway. That is not what's gonna reveal a physique because the physique is built during the off season, right? But a lot of us have this misconception, and I don't think it's anyone's fault. You see, you might say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I genuinely believe that there are powers above. They push narratives. They push narratives through social media, through the news, through just general media in general. And one of the narratives that's being pushed in the past few years is that lean is law. It's that you always look better when you're lean. You should always be trying to be the leanest version of yourself. But the truth is that the same people pushing that narrative, whoever it is, right? The government, whatever it is, they're the same guys that are making us fat. They're putting these foods out here, the fast food, the preservatives, the cloned food. And so in today's world, it is so easy to not be lean because we're no longer eating these single ingredients. Back in the day, you go to a grocery store, you get chicken, you get milk, you even see the animals outside, you see the raw ingredients. And so when you're eating whole foods and you don't have access to fried food, preserved food, what's it called? Sweet food, candy, it's so hard to get fat. And so we're all in a world where everyone has too much body fat, right? But they're also telling us that we need to be lean at the same time. Lean is law. You look more aesthetic if you're lean. And so when you already have too much body fat, right? Going to the gym and trying to put on muscle, it's not going to work because your body is going to be so resistant to insulin. That's one of the major downfalls of being too fat. It's not just the fact that you look worse or that when you cut, it takes a long time. It's the fact that even if you're too fat, let's say above 20% body fat, and you try to build muscle, it doesn't work as efficiently. So you can't build muscle, right? And so now you got to cut because you're too fat because of all the bullshit you've been eating. And so now, because you have no muscle, in cutting and getting lean, you're just shrinking yourself. You're becoming a smaller version of yourself. You're not able to be that masculine, muscular person that takes up space, that guy that's just like a threat. You can't become a threat because you're too fat to build muscle and they keep telling you to get lean. So I didn't even blame myself. And like all these influencers, they talk about lean is law. They'll tell you you need to get lean. But what they don't tell you is how they spent years building muscle, training for strength, building the size so that staying lean is so easy. See, the way I am right now, the muscle I built over these years, train like a bodybuilder, 2 sets to failure, progressive overload, focusing on building that base. It's actually hard for me to get fat. I've been bulking since January now, it's April, and this is the longest bulk I've ever gone on. And I still have some striations, I still have some abs because I'm doing it the right way, right? And because I have the muscle to help me stay lean. Men today, we were never taught to build. We are not taught how to build, and that building, it should be the priority, right? And so we get stuck in these cycles. You're skinny fat, you cut, you look worse. You bulk for 1 month, get fat, you cut again, you look worse. But you never actually learn that the real remedy for your physique is muscle. So what actually works? What actually got me the physique I wanted? Now, it was a reframing of my mindset. You see, everybody knows that you have to do these bulk and cut cycles, no matter what. It doesn't change. I'm not saying never cut. But the reason why you cut, for me now, the reason why I cut is different than before. You see, before I was cutting to reveal, but now I'm cutting to build. You see, even right now, even though I'm bulking, even if I do a slight bulk where I'm gaining weight slowly, I'm not eating bad, I'm getting my strength, I'm training properly. No matter what, each pound of muscle I gain is gonna come along with some fat. And so eventually, I'm gonna get to the point where I'm too fat, right? My body fat percentage is too high, that I need to do a cut. And so that cut though, depending where I'm at, let's say I just started this, that cut is not to reveal a crazy Chris Bumstead, David Lade aesthetic physique. No, that cut is to allow me to gain more muscle after because now I'm leaner and my body is more efficient. And so you should be spending like 4 or 5 months in a bulk phase, right? You should be gaining about 0.25 to 0.5 pounds a week. It's not fast. It's not supposed to happen fast, right? And you should be doing that for months. And then you get to the point where you're 18% body fat, don't get to the 20% mark. You've gained significant muscle, you've gained strength, you've gained muscle maturity, and now you need a 1 month, 6 week cut to get back to 12% so you can go back on the bulk again. So you should be spending way more time bulking than cutting. There's no reason for you to be spending the whole summer, a whole winter cutting because you shouldn't have been that fat in the first place if you were doing it the right way. Now, I understand that a lot of guys don't understand how to actually set up a bulk the right way to gain that muscle where it's sustainable and you don't get too much fat and you give yourself a longer runway to gain muscle. So if you need help with that, check me out on IG and DM me the word strong. Or if you want to get right to it, there should be a form in this description, and you can book some time to chat with me. We can talk about setting it up for you. But in general, right, we don't understand how to actually bulk in the way that we don't get fat and we can prolong it and get the most out of it, right? But when you do that, now the cut just becomes a mechanism and a route for you to gain more muscle, right? It's not about being a super jacked bodybuilder that's on steroids and huge and can't walk through a door, because people don't understand that to do that, not only does it take a lot of extra stuff, it still takes years of perfect training. So you focusing on building muscle sustainably is not gonna make you look bulky. It's always gonna make you look better, and it's always gonna make you look leaner because it's harder to gain fat, right? So that is a general premise, right? For the longest time, I didn't understand this. You might not understand it either, but now you understand that lean is not law. Lean is only a route to either reveal a physique that you spent years crafting and building the right way, or it is a route to get lean first, because you know that once you're lean, it will now be more efficient for you to build muscle.